Welcome back, everyone. Welcome in, Bear Down. Man, there's so many good things happening right now. We got so much good going on. Karl will be with us in just a minute. I know there's a lot there in his channel as well, and I just wanted to give a big thank you to all you guys who have gone over and subbed. Karl has grown significantly lately, and he deserves it, and I know it means a lot to Karl. He'll come on and say the same thing. Karl will be here in just a minute, just running a couple minutes late, so that's why we started a little late. We were trying to get things coordinated. Karl's here, though. He will be bearing down with us, and there's a lot to go over today. Biggest thing, point of this one, the roster's filling out. The Bears are really filling in some of those key positions where it's narrowing down, and now it's pretty clear in the first round, they can do whatever the freak they want. They can. The Bears can do whatever they want. Ryan Poles, Ben Johnson, they could take running back. They could take tight end. They can take offensive line. They can take defensive line. They can do whatever they want, and they can make it work because we filled this roster so well. In fact, we are once again, I didn't have up. Karl, I was doing this before the show with you, and the one I didn't get up, it's this one right here. We are officially, once again, the off-season champions. As you look at this, FanDuel and Yahoo Sports have both come out with theirs recently. Other places have done their too. These are the ones from just the last day or so. And in the middle, you see their off-season champions hired Ben Johnson, traded for Joe Tooney, traded for Jonah Jackson, signed Drew Dahlman, signed Dio Ndegbo, signed Grady Jarrett, top 10 pick in the NFL draft, another 2 picks in the second round early, 39 and 41. Yeah, we definitely win the offseason, and you can see all the grades. We have the highest grade according to FanDuel, and according to Yahoo Sports, we have the highest grade there too. So everyone's giving the Bears some recognition. They see what's going on. We see what's going on, and it's obviously something exciting to be a part of. So let us know in the comments if you're excited for the Bears and what's going on. And I did not link it yet. I forgot again. Karl's going to be here in just a minute. If you can see right there, if you can click on his icon, I don't know if you can. Karl, Thy and Smi. Thy and Smi. So you see him commenting there, Thy and Smi podcast. Go over there if you haven't subscribed yet. I know there's a lot that are in there on his channel as well. Viewing this one, we're going to have dual stream on this, and for the last 4 weeks of this. This is part 7 of 11, and we got 8, 9, 10, 11, and then we're at the draft. We're 5 freaking weeks away today, and we're going to be live for the draft right here, so you guys will be a part of it. All right, let's recognize you guys in the chat before we get started. Brian Gilmore, we've got Antmus, always loyal. Mark Versolote. We've got let's see here. Got someone, Karl's, I can see the link. Squeegee, Levante Rogers, Deharius Bear Gooch, Prometheus, Keith J. Hall, Scottish Bear. Let's go through some more. Richard, Colby. We got Sam L. Love the Bear Down logo. Love it. So if you're a member of the channel, you can hit the certain emojis. I'm working on some more emojis right now. We're gonna have them ready before the draft, and I am going to have 2 more videos out within the next day of player profiles I'm working on. If you guys haven't heard, we do have some more confirmed top 30 visits. So here's the updated top 30 visits, the scheduled top 30 visits. Mason Taylor, tight end from LSU, who I've become a big fan of. You guys saw me at the Combine. Oh, sorry, more of you guys in here. David Wilwock, Antharius, Alex Ramos, Prometheus, Fufu 1551. Let's see. Man, we got lots of people joining in the chat. We really appreciate you guys tuning in. Hey, and show Karl some love. If you haven't gone to his channel, check Karl out. He's doing a good job. Jeff Cleveland, Trapakipa, JC1, Anthony, Dylan Robinson, Bears fan, Colby, Bear Down 27, Illinois boy, Noah Ammon, Jay Grizz, and Sean O'Hillinger. So haven't missed anything yet, Sean. Haven't missed anything yet. We're just getting rolling. We're just getting started with the channel, with the show. We're just getting started with the show. So here's the update first. These are the scheduled top 30 visits. Jalen Walker is rumored to be scheduled to come in for a top 30 visit. That one is not confirmed. All right, so we're not there yet with that one. But they spent a significant time at his pro day doing individual workouts with him and talking to him, even over Mykal Walker. So that is big news to report on. As little as that might sound, it's big that they spent the Bears and their brass that were there spent that much time spent with Jalen Walker. So it's possible we could be looking at him in the first round as well. We'll hear. I'd be shocked if they spent that much time with him and they didn't want to bring him in for a scheduled top 30 visit. But Mason Taylor, Josh Connerly got added to the list last night, Ashton Genty, and Will Campbell. So just like we were talking about, those three on the right are all first-round prospects. Josh Connerly, a later first-round prospect. Could the Bears trade back and pick him up before anybody else does? Do they pick Ashton Genty or Will Campbell early and then trade back up into the first? There's so many options available. There's so many options. So I'm going to hit this right here. Atmos, top 30 visits don't just mean first rounders. So that's another thing we're going to talk about today. Top 30 visits don't mean just first rounders. They're going to try to get a feel for players at many different spots where they are. So it's not just first rounders they'll have for top 30 visits. They'll bring anyone in they want to get a better look at. So, Karl, what's up, my man?
I made it. Dude, I'm not going to lie. You keep plugging the channel. It's like you're a part of Thy and Smi. I got to say to everyone listening, Adam is not Smi, okay? Like, Adam, you are plugging this channel heavy, and I really appreciate it, man.
I gotta point out over here on the side, Karl, do you see the love you're getting right there to your left? Do you see the love over there?
Yeah, the chat's fantastic, and the beautiful part about it, like, we're the fluffers for BCP. Like, this is part of the BCP community as well, but it's not just BCP, it's not just Adam, it's not just Thy and Smi, it's everyone in this Bears community, man. When we're all together, it's just so much better. It creates such a better experience. You guys are just fantastic.
Lots of fun. More people filing in. G Mike, love it. 90 watching, 24 likes. Hey, appreciate you saying that, Mike. Don't mind hitting that, smashing that like button. Smash. Whoever smashes it the hardest is going to will a Super Bowl to the Bears. So smash that like button. More people filing in. Victor Perez, love it. Prometheus.
Yeah, Prometheus says the art of the feast. I mean, Noodles and Company. Maybe I should change that sign. Noodles and Company hit me up. That was a really good dinner. But
all right.
Levante
Karl.
Rogers says I just subscribed. Levante, thank you so much. I interact with you on Twitter quite a lot, it feels like. So thank you for that.
You won't regret it. Karl, first and foremost, we're getting love. We got to remove this one for this. The Bears are once again the offseason champions. Last year, we were the offseason champions because we drafted Caleb Williams. We drafted Rome Odunze. We made so many moves. What's different about this year? You see, we're getting A grades, and, some other people get A grades on certain sites like Yahoo. Some, not quite, still high grades.
I'm just seeing that middle banner. That's hilarious. Yeah. That looks legit. I didn't know what that was. I like the list on the right a lot more, Frank Schwab's, because if the Bears got an A ranking, so did the Vikings, man. Even if not just for the fact that the Vikings decided, hey, let's actually roll with our first-round pick quarterback from last year, who's a national championship winner, by the way, Adam, and turned down Aaron Rodgers.
Where did he do that at? I don't remember.
The University of Michigan.
Right, I forgot that.
Oh,
for a second. Bleed blue.
And by the grace of God himself, Sam L with the Ollie Gordon take again.
I love it. Hey, we're gonna get into something here, Sam, and I don't hate what you're saying. I do actually. You guys know on here I hate taking running back in the first round, especially top of the first round. But any running back could be the best running back in this class. Sam L, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Always a loyal one, always a true one, and always with the Ollie Gordon takes. We love it. Love it, love it. Let's go, Sam. Let's go.
All right, I'm very excited for the prospect of a running back because you hit the nail on the head earlier when you started the stream from what I heard. The Bears have positioned themselves to draft properly. Don't think Ollie Gordon makes it to 5.
I love this chat. Well, Karl, to hit on what you just said, I can understand giving them an A, but I can also understand on the left with FanDuel how they gave them a B. And they gave them a B on FanDuel.
In regards to the Vikings, right?
Because they didn't retain their quarterback from last year who made a significant difference with them. You can say we're going to run with a rookie quarterback, but that is a decision that potentially sets you back a year. I mean, when you run with a rookie, when you run unproven, it can set you back in your progress because you already had a quarterback that was proven to work in your system and you won 13 games with him. So
right, and just apply that logic to what you just said to Kirk Cousins.
Sure.
Because Kirk Cousins was a very good quarterback, and he got better with Kevin O'Connell. And when the Vikings decided enough is enough, we can't pay, at the time they were paying Justin Jefferson to be the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL. You can't have a middling quarterback have that same high scale. Sure. So we're going to go a cheaper route. We're going to get Sam Darnold. And they said, oh, that's I don't want to be rude on your channel, but essentially Vikings fans, to the news of signing Sam Darnold before the start of last year, it was like suicide fodder. They're like, if Sam Darnold plays, I'm not a fan of this team. They thought that lowly of him, and they said it's okay because we'll just have our rookie quarterback start. Well, lo and behold, you got what you got out of Sam Darnold. He outpriced himself, but the rookie's not going to outprice himself because he's on a contract, right? So I think this was the only move that they could make. Who knows? Aaron Rodgers might be still available in 6-8 weeks after the season starts if they need him.
Sure.
But
But
they've
what's
made
the
the correct
most
move, in my opinion.
what is the most important position on the football field, though? I mean, undeniably.
I've said it's not just the football field. I said in sports, it's the quarterback position.
Quarterback. So with that, you don't have a proven quarterback. I can see why FanDuel gave them a B grade. I also understand why Yahoo Sports gave them an A grade. So just to be fair on both sides, I can understand on both sides why they're. But either way, they've made other. Good
I would have
decisions.
preferred a B plus if you want to split hairs, but the Vikings, the Bears, they clearly were the two teams that got the most via free
All right,
agency.
so if we're creating our own report card here, we're going to split hairs and give a B plus. But both places gave the Bears an A. What do you give the Bears?
Yeah, I mean, the way that you couple it with not overpaying Tevin Jenkins, with getting a Duvernay to be your punt returner / I don't think he's your speed guy, but they've essentially filled all their holes. The two gaping holes on this roster, in my opinion, and not that tight end 2 is a gaping hole. You need tight end 2 and you need RB1.
We're going to get to that in a minute, Karl. Hold your horses, brother. Hold your horses. We're going to get there. Let's jump to, I think a lot of people haven't seen this news yet. We're going to jump to the Bears who have signed elsewhere. What sticks out? Some of this is news. So what sticks out to you here on this one?
Tevin Jenkins, I jokingly tweeted that a bad offensive lineman has gone to arguably the worst team in the NFL. I say that with anger towards Tevin Jenkins in his choice to sit out against the Packers. It upset me. I do wish Tevin Jenkins the best. I wish him and his family nothing but the best. I hope that Tevin Jenkins has a long, healthy career and goes to the All-Pro as a member of the Browns for all I care, you know? He's so far away from the Bears at that point, I don't care. But I'm very interested in that contract because I projected him like PFF to be a guy like Will Fries who's making $18 million a year essentially off of a projection. I don't even know if he's making $5 million a year, Adam.
No, he'll make more than 5. Come on.
I don't know about that.
But did you hear where they're signing him to, Karl?
Where?
To guard. So let's stop this notion he was holding out to be a tackle.
Hey! I don't know anything about the Browns. Their tackle situation could be flimsy. A lot of the people who reported the news touted him for having versatility. So there's a good chance, but I'm sure
just like Matt Pryor had versatility, just like many players usually kick into guard more than kicking out.
Tevin Jenkins is the 2025 Matt Pryor for all I care at this point. Yeah.
But we had, we had the rumors started by Karl, starting the rumors that he was holding out for a tackle position, and it turns out that probably wasn't true.
I said theory, lots of theory crafting on the Thy and Smi podcast.
Hey, I like it. If you guys haven't checked out some of Karl's shorts, he does give thought-provoking things, though. They're not reporting news, but it is theory, and I like it. He does a good job compiling those together. So if you haven't subscribed, subscribe for that alone, because it really does give some good thought-provoking things to think about. So,
well, yeah, I mean that's the bottom line, right? Like I don't have media room access. I don't have NFL credentials to just show up at the, I think you can show up at the combine a lot easier than other things. Yeah. But I'm not going to be breaking news to you guys. I'll let everyone else do that. If I can make you think and generate a discussion, that's what I value, and I think it's a lot of fun. So,
yeah, it is a lot of fun. All right, so Karl, I brought this up while you were getting ready. Our new scheduled top 30 visits. Now, as I've explained to a lot of people on here, I'm going to explain it on both channels here. What happens in this time of year? We've got the pro day visits. They're happening right now. In fact, the Big 12 pro day is a huge one because it's got every team from the Big 12. They're all together from the 18th to the 21st. So they're right in the middle of that right now. Lots of teams there for that. And then you've got other pro days happening simultaneously. The Bears send certain brass and scouts to certain ones and to other ones. And like the Georgia one, Brian Poles was to that one and other big names. They go to certain ones where there's more prospects to look at. And they spend a lot of time with Jalen Walker. And then these kind of round up right around the time the league year has their league meetings at the end of the month. The annual league meetings happen on March 29th, 30th, 31st, somewhere right in there. I might not have the exact days right, but they're at the end of this month. And then you're going to hear about all the top 30 visits at the beginning of April. That's when you start hearing about them because they schedule and then they have to be done by the 16th. So you're going to have those 2 weeks. That's when we get all the top 30 news and excitement. But these are the 4 that have been reported, have confirmed they're going to be scheduled top 30. Jalen Walker, rumored that he'll take a top 30, but not confirmed. But they did spend a ton of time with him in the pro day. Any of these that pop out to you when we're looking at these?
Wow, Brian Gilmore, I'm trying to answer him in the chat. I can't believe I don't know this off the top of my head. I thought it was actually March 21st. I'm sure I'm wrong on that, but...
Oh, man, we'll pull it up here for you guys. I've got it here. Let's see.
I was going to say, I saw Adam's video, too, after I had already looked that up. But Michigan has not had their pro day yet. You're asking me, out of these 4 humans, who excites me the most?
Well, even Jalen Walker, not what excites you, but what pops out to you? What makes you think? What makes you get going on this? It's like, okay, interesting.
There's no, like, skill position. Like, obviously, running back, tight end, you could consider it a skill position, but there's no outside wide receivers. There's no cornerbacks. So we have a good idea of kind of the general philosophy, but like you said, it's still wide open. There's equal chance they can go tackle, they could go guard, they could go running back. The only tight ends that I would consider at 10, of course, are Colston Loveland and Jalen. I can't think. It's Tyler Warren.
Tyler Warren, tight end for Penn State. Yeah. Is Michigan in here somewhere? Man, I've got them all listed. I just don't have it all readily acceptable and handy. And Michigan's got to be.
Is this the first page?
This is the last. This is next week. This is the last week. So you'll see.
Go back to the 21st. I thought it was the 21st.
Okay, 1 second. Tomorrow. So the 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, and then you see in that gap there, 29th, 30th, 31st. That's when the league year is going to be done. So I might be missing one page because there we go, 21st right there, Michigan. So right on the right-hand side, you see the 20th today, William and Mary. The only notable person was Charles Grant. 21st tomorrow, Michigan's pro day will happen tomorrow. So you're spot on.
And they've started their spring ball and everything, so get everyone acclimated before that happens. So it's going to be a good day.
All right, sorry. I was trying to look that up. What were your thoughts here? Obviously, I just explained a minute ago, in the top 30 visits, it doesn't mean always first rounder. I mean, we kind of get in that thought of who the most exciting ones are, but it means they're looking at a prospect to get some more information, bring them in for – so the difference, a combine visit, they can only spend 15 to 20 minutes with that person at the combine. They can do up to 60 of them. That's kind of where you get your first glimpse, where you're spending one-on-one time, drill them with a few questions, get to know their character, talk to them. And then you see them at the combine. Then you can invite guys back. It might be different guys. It might be the same guys to get a more in-depth look. At a top 30 visit, you get to spend basically as much time on that day that you want. You bring them in 2 hours, 5 hours, take them to dinner, quiz them, do your own physical on them, do everything you want to really get to know this player, see if he's worth your, say, Mason Taylor, number 41 overall pick. Because Mason Taylor has risen boards, one of the highest tight end prospects. Is he going to be worth it at 39 or 41 for us? Let's really drill into this guy and find out.
Yeah, somebody asked that question in the chat. If I was to offer a direct answer, I don't see why not, is what my answer would be.
Where was the question?
Sorry. Earlier, someone had asked, is Mason Taylor worth going in the second round? I don't know if it was pick 39 or 41 or both. Here.
It's a stretch if they take Mason Taylor.
Is it a stretch? My opinion's no.
No, I have Mason Taylor on my board as number 2. This is something Karl and I can debate today because I know obviously he's going to love his Michigan guy.
It is like be so for real right now as I omit the F word. What's your beef with Colston Loveland?
No beef. I have no beef with Colston Loveland. I like his game, but I did explain this to you, and we'll get into this in a minute, guys. But I did explain to you that certain things that I like on certain players. And his passer rating when targeted, everything, all his metrics are just significantly lower than the other tight ends.
Passer rating when targeted, when he's being targeted by a 31-year-old college quarterback.
Yeah, but it's not like it's
problem.
It's not like it's close, Karl. It's 78.4. So it's his passer rating and his quarterback's passer rating when he targets everyone total is over 100, and Colston Loveland's 78.4.
Yeah.
So Colston Loveland's doing worse than the rest of the team.
Listen to Colby. I think that Colston Loveland 2024 had 500 receiving yards.
Sure.
Your next closest pass catcher on Michigan was 250, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, and his contested catch rate is only 20%. You guys know on here that I value contested catches and drop rate. He has a low drop rate, and his pass blocking is extremely. He's more of a Sam Laporta type of player where you're not going to ask him to pass block. So if you're going to ask him to be out there and be a Y tight end, I can handle it, and I don't hate it. I wouldn't hate Colston Loveland. I just don't love him as a
I
prospect
don't
as
think,
much as
yeah,
other ones.
I don't think that Loveland fits to the Bears in any capacity outside of him drastically falling for some ungodly reason. Let me tell you, Colson Loveland at 39 would be a steal and a half.
Sure.
I still don't know if he'd fit the Chicago Bears the way that I would want that tight end to position to play.
So I wouldn't mind any of those top tight ends. Tyler Warren, I would absolutely take at number 10. This is the raging debate on Twitter with all Bears fans is who's going to be taken. Essentially it comes down to the Ashton Genty crew, and it's become very strong. I mean, they have very strong opinions. If you're like me and you kind of say, well, there's other options, you kind of get beat up on there. And then it's the other ones. I would be okay with any of these top ones in the second round, whether at 39 or 41, or if we trade back from 10, pick up another second rounder. Colston Loveland, Mason Taylor, Elijah Arroyo, even Harold Fannin right there. But I think Harold Fannin and Gunnar Helm kind of fall more into the early third for me personally.
Yeah, and the Bears had that link to Gunnar Helm as far as a combine visit, right?
We'll pull up the combine visits here in just a second. We'll kind of point something out. But yeah, those
Gunnar Helm is a guy in the third round. That is essentially what I would call a match made in heaven for the Chicago Bears. That would be lovely.
So here's your visits from the combine, guys, and there are some additions to this. If you didn't see the video earlier today, I put out a video today giving this update to start your day with a morning cup of Joe. And you can see a lot of first rounders. We'll point that out in a second. But right in the middle on the left side, below the safeties, they're kind of grouped: defensive tackles, defensive ends, another defensive tackle, then safeties. And right below that, Mason Taylor, who the Bears already visited with at the combine. Gunnar Helm and Tyler Warren and Terrence Ferguson, who also would fit in that third rounder for me. So, the Bears, and it leaves it wide open for interpretation there. When they're bringing Mason Taylor in for a top 30 visit, they visited with 4 of these guys at the combine. That could be a first round pick. That could be a second round pick. That could be a third round pick. I mean, there's so many options. The Bears are leaving themselves wide open to whatever falls on the board the best, which I actually love.
So that's what good teams do, Adam. That's just what good teams do. It's not a philosophy, right? Oh, you are picking the top 10, so you have to take a tackle in a terrible tackle class. Oh, this draft is terrible outside of a running back, and we have a bad running back, so we have to take a running back. No, you build a team and try and plug up those holes so that when you go into the draft, you're playing with all the chips on the table, and you can just make the best decision, period.
Nailed it, spot on. And it's not just one. And we're not just visiting with first rounders. In fact, we put this together. All the stars there, those equal first round prospects. So you can see it's a variety of positions. You got Mason Graham, defensive tackle. These are ones that are generally considered at some point to have a first round prospect. So people have said that they would go. In fact, who was the one? Todd McShay put out his 100 list, and he had who did we do? Josh Connerly. He had Josh Connerly as number 13th overall this year. So while most have Josh Connerly in the 25, 30, 35, 40 range, and a lot of Bears said, I think consensus overall, he's at 36. Todd McShay had him at 13. So, it could be another situation where people felt like Darnell Wright was a reach, and they take Josh Connerly in the first round with pick 10 overall. Yeah. You never know what's going to happen.
And it only takes one team, right? Like everyone, there could be 31 NFL teams that view Omarion Hampton as a second-round pick. But if the Raiders want him at 6, then the Raiders are going to take him at 6. I'm not suggesting that's a possibility. I'm just saying it only takes one team, right?
Well, it's absolutely a possibility. I mean, there's what we say out here in Bears Fluff world and in Talking Heads world means nothing to these teams on their draft boards. They're compiling their draft boards. They're meeting with the players.
And Adam, if what we have to say does have a serious implication on the minds of Ben Johnson and Ryan Poles, we might need a new team to root for because you're spot on here.
Yeah. So looking through that, see the stars next to these players: Mason Graham, defensive tackle, 2 defensive ends, Mikael Williams and Shamar Stewart, tight end at Tyler Warren, 2 running backs, Marion Hampton, Ashton Genty, 4 offensive linemen, Josh Simmons, Will Campbell, Kelvin Banks, and Gray Zabel, all considered by some at some point to be a first round. So it's, like we said, wide open. But there are some additions to this list I don't know if some people have seen yet. Some of those being, let's see here, Cam Scattaboo. We didn't initially know that the Bears met with him at the combine, and that has now been reported that they did. Another big one, Donovan Jackson. We didn't know at the combine And now a week later, it's come out that so there's 36 on this list now. They could have met with 60. So we don't always know exactly who the Bears met with. There might be 24 people they met with. We don't get to hear about everything, but then it comes out and we leak and we hear. So that they met with a variety of positions, different rounds. So again, we're kind of hitting on the focus of this episode. It's wide open. I mean, they really could. As much as I've got an opinion that I absolutely do not want a running back in the first round, no matter what. I think it's too deep of a running back class. I think poverty franchises make that decision to pick running back first round when you can really hit other positions that are going to have a shelf life of 10, 15 years in the league instead of 4 years. Because we know a couple years ago, Tampa Bay picked LaDainian Tomlinson in the fourth overall, or no, Leonard Fournette. That was the Jaguars. Sorry, Jaguars, 4th overall. And then 4 years later, they picked Travis Etienne 4 years later in the first round again. A short shelf life on these positions. But other people, understandably, are on the Jahmyr Gibbs train or the Bijan Robinson train. And I personally think that teams that don't have a superstar quarterback make those type of decisions. But what's your thoughts on that, Karl?
Yeah, if I could interject, I think you have to couple that logic with it's close to being a fact, in my opinion, that the 2025 NFL draft class has not the top-end talent that would really shock you and wow you, but it's more even keel in the sense that picks 20 to 60 are the same. So if you're drafting a running back at 10 and then you're getting a player who has the same value of pick 20 at picks 39 and 41, it's not the worst draft to draft a running back high.
See, but
again, I don't necessarily want it because of the opportunity cost, but it's more these running backs, while they're good, I think there's some, and then the rest. And the rest, I don't think that they help the Bears as much as you think that they might.
See, I'm going to interject there because this goes around. I mean, one person says it and it goes around where we hear and we accept that 20 through 60 are equal. So as people have said that more and more, I've kind of gotten into it with people, and I don't agree with it anymore. As I've looked at the players there, I might say 30 through 60 are equal, but there's so many players in this first round that are so good that separate themselves from the rest. Like at offensive tackle, it really is, to me, Josh Simmons, Ariante Ursary, and Josh Connerly Jr. And those three, to me, would still have a top 30.
There's no talk of those guys going first overall.
I'm saying they separate themselves from the rest of the offensive tackles later on. There's
if a guy who had, if there was a guy who had the pedigree of Trent Williams, right? Good old silverback, huge monster mammoth of a human being that meets really good tape and technique. That tackle's going first overall, man. Let me tell you. In this draft.
But there's a separation between that and later in the draft. So
absolutely. This is a very razor-thin tackle class.
So these guys are going to fit in that top 30, and then there's a separation. It's the same with defensive tackle.
But that's out of necessity. That doesn't mean that quality is there. I genuinely think that it's Josh Simmons is the best tackle.
Sure.
And as long as he's healthy, he's probably worthy of a top 10 pick. But if he's not healthy, the rest of these guys are kind of schmucks.
But I'm saying
about a lot of guards.
You get to 39, and you may not have Ariante Ursary, Connerly Jr., or Josh Simmons available if you want to go tackle.
That's highly likely.
Yeah, and the same thing with defensive tackle. Mason Graham, Walter Nolan, and Kenneth Grant. After that,
who are those guys? Who are those guys?
Shut up.
The Michigan Big Three.
You bleed blue, baby. You bleed blue. All of them, though, have clear separation in they're all good at stuffing the run, at shedding double teams and getting the penetration to stop runs. And they all get pressure as well.
I want to share some memes real quick. I know you know a couple of what I'm talking about, but go on. Keep yapping, if you will.
Keep yapping away. So we're going to hit running back just for 2 seconds here, and then we're going to leave it. But I am going to bring this up. Karl and I were talking about this before, and I want to bring this up. This is PFF's signature stat of breakaway yards. It's the biggest indicator of success at the next level, and it's the thing we argue about is, I mean, Ashton Genty has all these godly stats. You know, his broken tackles and his yards after contact. And the thing is, there is a clear difference when a player comes from college to the NFL. Every single one of them, they slow down. You're not going to have 7 yards per carry. Am I wrong, Karl?
I'm just waiting to pull up the great metric that I saw regarding Ashton Genty. If you guys are big in stats, which I know on the Adam Mason channel you guys are, there's a stat that I saw that just blew my mind. So
Trying to add it to the stage, but it's not adding.
oh, what, my meme?
Yeah, hold on one second. Remove this one, and maybe this one will work. There we go.
Yeah, so this is completely separate of running backs. In my opinion, I know you guys have heard this before. History repeats itself.
Oh.
We're talking about number 55 for Michigan, who is scheme diverse and has a phenomenal motor, who also has the last name Graham.
Why does his skin color look different, Karl? I'm not trying to be racist.
Now that's the part that you don't have to worry about, because at the end of the day, history
the guy in the
repeats
picture's
itself.
skin is black, and the guy down below is white. Did he?
Well, there's nothing wrong with Brandon Graham, but there may be a technicality issue on my end as far as Mason Graham. But regardless, what I'm trying to say here is that Mason Graham is one of these can't miss guys.
Hey, awesome. Sean O'Hillinger, thank you so much. Gifted a Bear Down membership. Very cool of you to do. Thank you for being a part of the channel and sharing the love with those around. Very, very cool.
Now, Keith Hall is onto something, because I want to say something extremely controversial, but I'll get canceled.
No, yeah, everyone's got their opinion. I've got no problem with the opinions of everybody else.
Here. The output that we saw from Jahmyr Gibbs when David Montgomery got injured, right?
Sure.
If he takes that output and applies it to a 17-game NFL season and, God forbid, one good playoff game, if he does that for 3 years, who's to say that Jahmyr Gibbs is not any better than Barry Sanders?
Any running back that gets enough touches?
the tiny sample size that we're seeing from him, without a shadow of a doubt, Jahmyr Gibbs is a top 3 running back in the NFL, in my humble opinion, as a Bears fan. So,
and there's going to be positive guys. This is the ongoing debate. We've all got an opinion on it. In any running back, I mean, Bashul Tutton at 4.32 speed with how much he's done over 3 years in college. He's consistently for 3 years.
Now I've got another meme I got to show you. It's not
been one of the top. Well, have him ready, freak, for crying out loud, Karl. Been one of the top running backs in college football. Somehow he's only getting a third round grade by a lot of people. Now he ran a 4.32 at the combine, and people are starting to take him seriously. But we're going to talk about a signature stat here by PFF, and it's called breakaway yards. And I'm going to read their explanation of it. It helps people. Okay, so this is boring.
Ampharius, he just hit a home run in your chat. You are correct, good sir. But I'll digress on that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the right team. And that's an argument for the Bears, though. They say, well, the Bears have assembled one of the best offensive lines for running, which they have. I mean, getting this offensive line for running the ball. We are a wide zone running blocking. I mean, we can block anybody in the run game. So, Karl, do I even want to... Oh, it's Bashul Tutton?
It's not a bad meme whatsoever. It's essentially a poll question. I should have this poll ready. You might want to do it in yours. But chat, there are going to be 4 screenshots, and I will show them to you now. Please let me know, according to these 4 screenshots, how many touchdowns did Bashul Tutton of Virginia Tech score out of these 4 images, okay? This is picture number 1, where he's currently at his own 20-yard line.
I'd say, well, go back to that one.
Touchdown, yes or no?
I would say with those defenders there, no. I mean, he's got too many defenders to, even with his breakaway speed at 4.32, 40, I don't think he can score on that one.
Okay. Picture number 2. He's taking the handoff in the shotgun. He's got clamps on, and he's got over the top here as well. Again, he's at his own 45-yard line.
Not on this one either. He's going to score a touchdown on every one of these, isn't he?
Well, if that's how you want to cut to the chase, you're correct, Adam. Bashul Tutton has scored a touchdown on all 4 of these pictures.
Well, show us the freaking video.
I can get those, but I don't have them cut up, ready to go. It was just some midnight thoughts here at 12:26 a.m.
Look at that.
He
scored on that one too, huh?
Over the top. Yeah, he runs into this guy, bounces out, and just goes all. Yeah, Levante Rogers, bravo to you, sir. Wow. This Bashul Tutton, if we're talking about hot takes and projections, I do not see Bashul Tutton making it to the 3rd round anymore. The way that the Redskins fans talk about Bashul Tutton as well, if that's any indicator, Bashul Tutton is going to be your Austin Eckler replacement in the DMV, if that's what they call it.
Prometheus agreed. We can at least all agree a strong running game makes Caleb a better. That's just a fact. A good running game does make a better overall game. It doesn't necessarily have to be. I mean, with the Falcons, they took Bijan to be the core, the highlight. Even with the Lions, that's arguable they did that because they have Jared Goff. I don't believe the Lions, even the way you hear Ben Johnson talk about Jared Goff, I do not believe the Lions think they have a top 10 quarterback or a franchise quarterback in Jared Goff. They've got a
Their
great
general
quarterback.
manager better believe that they do because he's getting paid like one.
Well, I mean, they have to hang on to him, though, or else you're going to lose your job. They've got what's the better option there for them? So they've got him. They add Jahmyr Gibbs to that to help fix or supplement. Having a great running back can overcome a bad quarterback. And that's the way the Bears have been for years and years. We have often had that with several of our quarterbacks or running backs over the year that can help with that. But here, we're going to get back to the point here. We're going to hit this, and then we'll move on, go to the entire roster and hit other positions because we've focused on the running back position a lot. So this is PFF's signature stat of breakaway yards. So here's their exact wordage and explanation of it. Evaluating the performance of a running back is one of the most difficult tasks that an analyst faces. Other offensive positions are easier. The quarterback completes the pass, the wide receiver catches the ball, the center makes the block, and for the most part, it's cut and dried. The problem with the running back position is the large part of their success is reliant on their teammates. No running back is going to rush for 1,000 yards if they have defensive linemen in the backfield on every handoff. All I look at last year was Swift. I mean, he still almost rushed for 1,000 when he was getting murdered a lot. And yeah, we need a more powerful back.
You got the player right. You didn't get the situation right. Last year, DeAndre Swift got 1,000 yards, either all-purpose or rushing, on the Eagles. The Eagles downgraded on offensive line, but upgraded running backs, and all they did was win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and there's one argument for it. It goes both ways. This is explaining they need both. So no running back's going to run for 1,000 yards if they have a defensive line in the backfield on every handoff, whereas the running back in the league could run for 1,000 yards if their offensive line gives them a 5-yard push and a gaping hole every play. How do you take away outside influence and quantify a running back's performance? To answer this, PFF grades each running back on every play, but those of a more numerical inclination, we've created some signature stats for the running back position. This particular one, breakaway percentage, tries to measure how much a defense needs to worry about a running back because of his ability to break out big plays. So this is only breakaway yards. The percentage is calculated by taking the yards gained over runs of over 15 yards and dividing it by the player's total rushing yards. So while it certainly helps to have a good line in front of you, game-changing running backs can shine through regardless. So this is something I'm going to do for a whole nother video. I've been working on this one, but I'm going to give a little highlight here. This gives a better indicator at the NFL level because despite their line, how does the running back do? And Ashton Genty's still on the list. I've never said Ashton Genty's not a good running back. I just don't agree with taking any running back in the first round. But this is the highest breakaway yard percent leaders among running backs in the 2025 NFL draft. And I've included every single one that has over 50% of their yards on breakaway yards. So these are the ones that will have a better transition to the NFL level. Number 1 was Caleb Johnson at 56.1%. 2, DJ Giddens at 54.9%. 3, Ashton Genty at 54.5%. 4, Bashal Tutton, who we were just talking about, 54.0%. 5, Travion Henderson, 53.0%. And 6, RJ Harvey at 52.4%. Anything in there surprise you, Karl?
No, quite the opposite. Like I said, I've said on the show before, RJ Harvey, clear-cut upgrade to DeAndre Swift. I've learned from my conversations with Adam that Bashal Tutton, clear-cut upgrade to DeAndre Swift. These are really good running backs, and they're all sorted appropriately in this metric. So if you had some outliers, I'd be a lot more skeptical. I am skeptical of DJ Giddens, admittedly, but the list is a group of really solid running backs. So
I think all of these are graded as at least top 4. DJ Giddens, the only one's not a third round. I think DJ Giddens is a fringe third, early 4th round prospect right now, according to most.
Or lower, in my opinion.
But all the rest of these are 1st, 2nd, 3rd round grades, and most of them second at the latest.
RJ Harvey, another guy who would be lucky to go on day 2, in my opinion. But Bashal Tutton, guys, this guy is going to be really good in the NFL. He is not going to slip far past in the draft. If he's drafted in the 3rd round, he will be considered a steal. Okay,
we're going to remove this. I am going to do a whole video on this later. So those who are
show my slide that I have up just as a quick. We'll knock it out. So again,
this is garbage. No, that's a garbage thing. It's taking 2 axes that absolutely in the college level. Dude, this is one of those where you take apples and oranges and you're comparing them together. Ashton Genty
So
at the Mountain West Conference against not even the Mountain West Conference, Portland State, Georgia State, Idaho. Dude, you can't take
I
apples.
poked the bear and I got him to react. I'm very proud of myself, chap. I am very proud of myself.
You can't take apples and oranges and compare them together. You
Missed
got to
tackles
compare.
forced per carry seems like a valid metric. Yards
Not
after contact per carry seems very...
Okay, so hit those two metrics. Will they translate to the NFL?
I think they will.
No, they don't.
Now, I'm not saying that if you're splitting hairs here, right? There's a player who's far and away from everyone. Clearly, just on his own demographic. That's
on breaking away tackles at the college level against Portland State and Georgia State and Idaho and Utah State.
I don't have the individual numbers. Maybe, just maybe PFF does, because this data came from PFF. So if you want to thwart this, that might be a fun video to make as well.
That's part of it. Yeah, I've got a bunch of video that it takes forever to go through all the games. I've got video of Ashton Genty with Mack truck sized holes where a guy literally gets a pinky on him and he gets a broken tackle for the pinky and then he races. He's got good breakaway speed. Once he gets in the open field, he's quick. But dude, there's so many times where he gets touched and it's with giant holes the size of a Mack truck, and then he gets touched by someone jumping and lunging, and that counts as a broken tackle. It's just not the same.
Ashton Genty had a very gritty, tough game against UNLV, and it impressed me because you talk a lot about UNLV, as you should.
Which one?
The one in Oakland. And by Oakland, I mean the Las Vegas stadium.
Yeah, he got his butt handed to him in that game.
No, they won that game, and he had a good game. So
they won that game. He averaged 3.4 yards per carry in the college level. 3.4 yards per carry is not good, Karl.
Again, if you're selling out,
you take 40 carries and you're going to get 100 yards.
To stop him, and they have no quarterback. That's something that you never mentioned as well.
They have a great quarterback.
No.
He is. Listen,
Boise State's quarterback.
They rave about their quarterback. Their quarterback just got recruited in the transfer portal. He just went to a SEC school because he's good. That's what happens to good quarterbacks.
Then they don't have any pass catchers. There was something wrong where Ashton Genty was forced to be the focal point. They knew they had to stop him. And
that was the focal point of their team, is they focused on the running game. And when good teams like Penn State stuffed him and made him fumble twice, and UNLV did the same thing too. They shut him down the first time. I went over that. They Jackson Woodard every single time one-on-one, who is a 4th-round prospect linebacker. When he faced Jackson Woodard handed his ass to him. He took him out every single play. He's going to face defensive tackles, defensive ends, and linebackers at this next level at the NFL that aren't like college. They're going to wrap up. And so these broken tackles at the college level, they don't equate to the NFL. You're not going to have those broken tackles. It never happens. You don't go from 7 yards of carry in college to 7 yards of carry in the NFL. It goes from 7 to 4 because that same reason. It's breakaway yards that will be more important.
But Ashton Genty is not breaking tackles because he's physically bigger and stronger than everyone. He has a knack for it. He doesn't run people over. He does, but he also bounces off of them. I think that it's going to translate. It's not a question on if Genty's a good running back, and I think you agree. You think that he's a good running back,
right? So it's
just
not
the
that he's
value
bad.
at 10. And I'm not arguing for a running back at 10. My stance on 10 is very, very clear. I'm just saying that this running back is good.
Oh, I agree. And Ashton Genty is the #1 rated running back in this class for a reason. Nobody's doubted. No one's denying that. But it doesn't mean he's automatically going to translate to the NFL being the #1 running back in this class. There could be any one of these guys that surpass him with things that translate to the NFL as well. This is a really deep class, and any one of these guys could overtake him at the next level. It's absolutely possible.
The problem with the Bears situation is just that these really good DeAndre Swift upgrades are not going to upgrade the Bears roster the way that I'd like them to. If Roschon Johnson was the DeAndre Swift that we have, a decent running back that just wasn't good enough in his role, then drafting these guys in the 2nd, 3rd round would be so much more appealing. But unless we get serious capital for Swift, we can't roll with those guys. You need the bell cow. You need the RB1.
This is a great comment by Levante Rogers and a super chat. Thank you, Levante Rogers. We do appreciate that. Why is this a Genty argument and not a running back one? Why is it not a running? Because I agree. You guys know on this channel I love Omarion Hampton, but when that got brought up, if Genty goes at 6 to the Raiders, would I be happy with Omarion Hampton at 10 to the Bears? No. exact same reason. It is an overdraft to take a position that might last 4 years on their roster, might last 2 years before an injury, might get overworked with the tread on their tires, as people call them. When this class is so deep and you can take one of these guys in the second round and they have more proven stuff that might translate at the next level. So, Karl, we got to transition from this running back. I'm going to give you the last word, so I don't have to have you take the last word on this running back conversation. Then we got to move to another position.
If at pick 10, Ashton Genty, Mason Graham, and Kenneth Grant are off of the draft board, the selection for the Chicago Bears at 10th overall should in fact be Omarion Hampton. Adam, next question.
I gave you the last word. It's yours. It's all right. I gave you the last word. We're getting to what we were talking about next. Yeah, you know how hard it is for me to let that
Sam
go.
L. If anyone in the NFL could take Ollie Gordon and make Ollie Gordon what he was for Oklahoma State, I believe in 2023, it's I'm sorry, Muck the General just totally destroyed me. He said, "That's idiotic."
LOL.
Bad move, Adam.
So just like in the chat, guys, we have it going back and forth. You guys are gonna have your preference. We're gonna move on from
JC1.
we're moving on from the running back discussion now because
running back. What's a running back? I've never heard of one of those.
As we showed here, we don't know. Nobody knows. It's fun. We're going to debate about this for 11 weeks. Now 5 more weeks left. We're going to talk about it. The Bears are going to bring Ashton Genty in for a top 30 visit. It's that simple, guys. But we don't know at the end of the day. Could be a defensive tackle. Could be a defensive end. Could be a tight end. Could be a running back. Could be an offensive tackle. Could be a guard for all we care. They might really like Will Campbell at 10 as a guard, and they might draft him and say, screw it. We're taking him. He's a great talent. He's going to translate. He's going to be the best guard in the league, so we're going to take him. We don't know. So at the end of the day, I'll let it go, Karl. We move back here. Okay. With these additions, though, this is what we're going to get to. We have made several additions, and most notably, you can see Olamide Zaccheaus up there as wide receiver 3, Devin Duvernay as wide receiver 4. We've really filled out the wide receiver room. We have limited needs left, and really kind of some of them have stuck out. Like you said earlier, RB1/2 at the top. You can see starter needs on the top line. RB1/2, tight end 2, linebacker, who could be very important for filling in for Jack Sanborn, but taking over next year if we do decide to move on from Tremaine Edmonds or TJ Edwards contracts coming up, and he's going to be very expensive next time around. So drafting a linebacker, and we talked about Jalen Walker, them spending a significant amount of time. That could be the first round pick. Jalen Walker can play linebacker. He can also come line up at edge. He's got very good versatility. And then you got backup.
That's seriously the scouting report on that kid? He can line up as a Tremaine Edmonds and also with his hand in the grass and rush the passer?
Oh, dude, that's one of the ones I'm worried. You haven't looked in Jalen Walker yet? Dude, he's a special talent. I agree. I just don't know if he's our primary need. But now I'm starting to...
It almost sounds like you're talking about Travis Hunter in the sense that you can be really good at a couple things, but if you're not great at something, you might just flame out. So when I think we're talking about Jalen Walker out of Georgia,
yeah,
that's a pass rusher. To me, you have to look at that player as a pass rusher. And if you're talking about him essentially patrolling the middle of the field or asked to be the Sam linebacker and scrape up and make tackles, that sounds like a waste. Levante Rogers says 7 sacks, Karl. That's twice as many sacks as Shamar Stewart has in his entire career.
And it's on limited production, too. His pass rush snaps are 152 opportunity. He had 23 pressures. That's one of the highest pressure rates in all of football. So let me pull him up here.
Now, all I'll capstone this with is the idea of drafting a very good off-ball linebacker because of value, because of the way that you've maneuvered with free agency. I'm not opposed to it whatsoever. Just please, God, don't draft an off-ball linebacker at 10. But if a really good player falls to 39 or 41 and that's the best value, screw it.
We talk about we talk about Jahmyr Gibbs. What did the Lions do in that same draft at pick 18th overall? When everybody said,
but you just think that linebacker looks good in Detroit because the names that they had to play. Because if
I don't even know if he's great.
You had
I think it was a
practice
terrible
squad.
draft pick. I said that at
It
the
was
time.
a terrible draft pick, full stop. Just because he looks good on Detroit doesn't mean that he's a good player.
All right, so here's Jalen Walker. You can see 6'2", 245, and you can see the different places he lined up. Right outside linebacker, left outside linebacker. That basically means in a 3-4, he is your off-ball linebacker. He can line up for blitzing, and he can be like a defensive end, or he can be the outside linebacker. Weak side linebacker, I think he even signed up as Mike. Yeah, he was at the Mike, middle linebacker a couple times. So he's very versatile. Like, let's look at where he lined up on his snaps.
Look at that game. Can we see the individual stats for the game against Texas?
Yes, 1 second. We got the defensive line for 369 snaps in his career, 203 this last year. In the box, 258 in the slot, so slot corner. And then outside linebacker, or outside on the edge. This would be defensive end. So really lined up in several different positions. That's the same.
Are
as
you
over
kidding me? They count it as a slot. That's just Kyler Gordon. It's ridiculous.
It's just where he lined up as the outside linebacker. That's just a certain place. He's dropping back in coverage. That's all that. It's just the way they have to label it. I mean, don't take it as him being the nickel. It's just where he lined up in the slot.
I'm totally with you in peril. If we draft a linebacker at 10, an off-ball linebacker, we've got a serious problem. But
hey, chat, real quick. Are you hearing a popping noise? Karl, do you hear a popping noise?
I have not heard it, and when I'm not talking, I do my best to try and mute myself. But if you guys are hearing something from me while I'm talking,
no,
please
don't worry about
know.
muting yourself. Just let us know if there's a popping noise. Okay, I think it might be my headphones, Karl. I think I need to upgrade my headphones. In pre-show, Karl and I were talking. I heard it and it went away. I think it's my headphones, so don't worry, guys.
And you need to get that Shure microphone. You need to have Shure hit you up. Adam, you're falling flat on your face regarding these sponsorships, man.
Karl,
we need a Shure sponsorship and a Ghost Energy sponsorship.
Karl, one thing at a time. We got the draft to focus on here, brother.
No.
Right. So Jalen Walker. What else you want to see on him? You wanted to see the Texas game. Let's see that up here.
Because I'm pretty sure it says that he lined up as a weak side linebacker and he had 7 total tackles.
7 total pressures. His total tackles.
Look, and that's against a good team. I don't care what you guys have to say about Texas. They were a very good quality football team.
2 great tackles, 1 on each side. 2 really good tackles.
No, I'm just saying, like, as a football team, Texas is good. So it looks like he had one of his better games against Texas.
Yeah, but where he would have been lined up at will on the outside, that means he's going to be. I mean, you can take the individual game week 8 there. You can see
now,
he lined up.
He
lined up as a defensive end 18 times, and he lined up in the box 28 times and slot 7 times. So in those snaps, those 18 snaps, he still got 7 pressures. Well, he could have done it from the slot too. So 25 snaps where he could have gotten pressure, and 7 of them he did get pressure. I mean, that's phenomenal. 3 sacks. So
now, again, correct me if I'm wrong. When I see a will linebacker, I think about Lance Briggs. When I see a Sam, a strong side linebacker, I think of Hunter Hillenmeyer. Yeah, so if that's the position that he's playing and he's doing well at it, so what? But that's a player I'd rather have at 39 than 10.
I don't know if there's a game changer, a game wrecker. If you can get a Brian Urlacher, come and get him. I know you're.
I don't think he's in this draft, but I'm sure I'll be wrong.
Okay, so here's where we are. Same argument. Okay, so RB1, RB2, running back, wherever we pick them, they're very important. There's our team needs left. We're going to hit these things. Tight end 2, then linebacker. Same argument for linebacker you can make for tackle. Braxton Jones, now with the salary cap, I'm going to do a whole video once we get it all settled. Our salary cap next year, we're not going to have an offseason next year like we had this year. With the contracts we signed, our salary cap won't be as open. But you don't want to be that team at the top of every year that has the most salary cap available. You guys that are signed for the next 3 years, our entire roster is really set for the next couple years, most places. So we'll have some flexibility, but then we've got to start hitting in the draft now. So this is a whole other video we can do, but do we re-sign Braxton Jones? Do we draft a tackle? Obviously, if you come back and look at this list on all those offensive tackles, Josh Simmons, possible first rounder, Will Campbell, Donovan Jackson, maybe second rounder, Tyler Booker, first/second rounder, Kelvin Bakes, first rounder, Jonah Savania, first/second rounder, Holland Pierce, definitely third-ish rounder, Ozzie Trapillo, third rounder, Donovan Jackson, third rounder, Emory Jones, third rounder, Hayden Connor, day 3. So there's different options here where we can attack that and address it. But it's something that needs to be considered and thought about. And then backup guard, Cornerback now, Jalen Jones is gone. I really like Jalen Jones. I was upset to see him go. Those who missed that, here's the updated list of those that have gone. And I've got the horseshoe and the star in front of Jack Samore.
Yeah, Jalen Jones will be remembered on the Chicago Bears as the guy who always was first dibs to fill in for Jalen Johnson, and he played his butt off, and he did an admirable job. It was Jalen Jones and Josh Blackwell, who I always felt like were worth their weight in literal gold because of their contributions to the Bears. So that's a big loss.
Yeah, some of these hit harder than others. Like Darrell Taylor, decent backup. Expected him to go. He was going to get paid some more. Jack Sanborn hurts. Jalen Jones hurts. You expected some of them. Larry Borum, I knew he wouldn't resign. I didn't want him resigning him last year. Didn't have cutting him last year. I wanted him cut.
Hey, Darrell Taylor, the Texans can have a NASCAR package, you know. If they decide that they want the kid out of Alabama, Will Anderson, to line up at 3-tech and have Darrell Taylor come in on an obvious passing situation, the Texans, that's a really good signing for them.
Yeah, very good signing. So Jalen Jones, Tevin Jenkins, DeAndre Carter, Larry Borum, Darrington Evans, Jake Curahan, Darrell Taylor, Coleman Shelton, Khalil Herbert, Jack Swarmer, Byron Cowart, all out the door. Sorry, rushed through that, but we had to get through
Raging Oracle says, Sanborn makes me sad. I'm actually the opposite. I thought that Sanborn was a guy you could have chose to start at middle linebacker instead of Tremaine Edmonds. Obviously, the Bears didn't agree with that. But now Sanborn has the opportunity to start and play meaningful football under a coach that he's very familiar with. I'm excited for Sanborn.
Well, it's one of those things where you like the player, so you want to see him get his opportunity. If the Bears weren't going to give it to him, but man, I really feel like we missed the opportunity there to give him a shot at Mike. He really could have been a middle linebacker for us, and he could have done a great job. I agree, Raging Oracle. Makes me sad that we parted with him.
What's that contract look like? Is it a 1 year?
No, we don't know that. It's not open. I checked that one. It's not open yet. I think it was a multi-year contract too, though.
Damn, because that sucks. But if Jack Sanborn comes back in free agency to replace Tremaine Edmonds, what a story that would be, huh?
Yeah, that would be crazy. All right, so let's roll through here. We're going to update. We got 7 draft picks. Some of these more important than others, obviously. Nose tackle could be important for next year. Same reason. Billings gone. Defensive end. We need another rotational guy. Cornerback with Jalen Jones gone. Safety. We got 4 guys at the end of their contracts after this year. Some more important than others, like tackle.
I don't know if Imperial is spot on here, but if he set himself up that 1 year, $1.5 million contract.
Okay, so you guys got updated before I saw it.
If he needs a job next year and we get rid of Tremaine Edmonds.
That's such a low contract, guys. That is so low. All right, they're saying Tevin Jenkins in Cleveland was 3 years, $52 million, so $14 million a year with $40 million of it guaranteed. $14 million is not bad for him.
Yeah, it's $5 million more a year than the guy in Tennessee is making. I forgot Zeitler's name. But the truth is always in between the lines. I suggested that he'd get paid handsomely. I now thought that he could get paid nothing, and that feels like a very good contract for him. It's just weird. I didn't know what the Browns would need. The way that they're talking about him is almost like they refer to Tevin Jenkins as like quality depth.
That's how the Browns were talking? That's not what I saw. I mean, he's going to be a starter for them for sure, dude.
For that price, he better.
He's not. So where did you see quality depth? I mean,
when the big guys, when I listen to the huge guys, like who is that? Like Mike Garafolo? Like it's their job. I don't want to poo-poo on them, but like, what the fuck?
No, when I saw the announcement of it was from the Browns, and they said, "Welcome to Cleveland, the 4th highest rated or the 14th highest rated or something over the last 3 years when available." I mean, that's the thing is the injuries, but that's why the Bears let him go. But I mean, Tevin Jenkins has played very high level ball when he's available. So
yeah, but then he'll make the business decision to sit out against your arch rivals in Week 18. So
Karl, he didn't choose to sit out. He was injured that last week. Choose your next words wisely.
Was that calf falling off the bone? Like, come on, buddy.
Love you, Karl. Love you. Okay. Anything pop out here? We got 7 draft picks, 9 more spots to fill, and some of them could be. I put Doug Kramer and Ricky Stromberg at the backup center position. I think with Drew Dahlman, that really is the path we go with. Ryan Bates next to them. we could have Ryan Bates fill in. These two are going to duke it out for a roster spot as backup, and that's kind of how I see it. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Raging Oracle says it very well. I still want Pryor to return, and I do as well. I think Pryor's probably your last depth piece, and then you can play with house money as far as getting a really good offensive line prospect in the draft.
Let's go to that page. There's no way Matt Pryor comes back. He played high-level ball on this team. It's low starter quality. He's not going to accept a backup role somewhere. He's going to find a team that needs a guard that's a fringe starter, at least somewhere where he's going to have a shot. He's not going to re-sign with the Bears behind Joe Thuney and Jonah Jackson. There's no way. I mean, Matt Pryor is going to make $6-7 million a year, and he's going to be a fringe starter if not getting a starter job.
What did he make on the Bears in 2024?
Well, he didn't sign with us as a starter. He signed as a backup. Then he filled in as a starter. Ended up being starter quality, but low-end starter quality. He gave up 7 sacks, over 1,000 snaps. So he's not high-level starter, but he's low-level starter quality. He's going to look for a starting job somewhere. He played starter at the Colts, and he was a backup with the Niners.
He has been looking for a starting position and hasn't found it, to my understanding.
Well, that's what happens, though. You're going to go through the draft, and then these teams after the draft are going to look for those players that can round out their roster. And some of these teams that don't quite have that starter, they're going to look for him to compete with a rookie, or they're going to look for him to fill in that role as they develop someone. He'll get that role somewhere for $5, $6, $7 million a year. That's going to be the path of Matt Pryor. That's what's going to happen with him.
I love the idea of Matt Pryor as your 6th man on the offensive line anywhere.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to be a backup. He doesn't want to be when he played last year.
If you talk to him, I would believe you. If you told me you talked to him, I would believe you. But that's not what you're saying. It's projection. So we will see. I won't be surprised either way.
Man, this thing is killing me. This popping. Glad this popping isn't in all your guys' ears. All right, so this is let's go back here. Here's your backfield, your quarterback and your running backs. Obviously, we agree we need another running back on the 90-man roster. We're going to pick up another quarterback at some point, probably an undrafted free agent again. Compete against Bagent, compete against Reed. I'm not even going to get into the debate about Tyson Bagent being a quality backup. I don't see him going anywhere next year. We'll probably, tender him a restricted free agent for $2 million, $3 million a year. And just keep him here. No one's going to trade for Tyson Bagent. It is what it is at this point. Wait, are you hearing snap, crackle, pop, Brian Gilmore? Are you saying you hear it?
Nah, Brian's a very happy-go-lucky guy. I think he's just he's giving you some fun. He's playing with you.
I just want to make sure nobody else is hearing what I'm hearing. I can fix this later.
I cannot, so it's not your microphone, in my opinion.
And we're in agreement that running back is going to be, even though we have 4 on the roster now, running back is going to be a key need that we need. And one of these guys will get relegated to the practice squad or, make the roster as the last guy at return duty. Possibly Ian Wheeler still going to the practice squad. As much as we like him as a fan favorite, he is an undrafted free agent. He's still got to prove himself. Anything else on the running back position before we move to the line?
I think we're in agreement that the Chicago Bears will draft a running back. Where they'll draft him is to be determined.
Correct.
Roschon Johnson is a fringe potential cut candidate if he can't complete the transition to fullback. If Roschon Johnson accepts his role as a fullback and a core special teamer, he'll be on this team and he'll excel. But as far as your second running back, those days are gone.
Yeah, he's not going to be RB2 anymore after this year. All right, offensive line. I mean, we're kind of in agreement with where things stand now. Probably draft both of these positions is my stance. You kind of think we'll re-sign Matt Pryor. Either way, we need to round it out with a little more depth.
Oh, your mic just cut out. Oh, now it's back. I think you're back.
Am I okay?
You're good. You're good.
Karl, am I okay? Am I okay? Am I okay, Karl?
Well, the quality of your microphone is just fine, but I can't truly answer your question.
About my mic or about the
about you
guard?
Being okay? I can't speak to if you're okay, Adam. That's to be determined. But your microphone is just fine.
Backup guard, backup tackle. Now we could move Kieran Amagachi into guard and or swing tackle. He moved to the other side, but we need someone to be able to be it.
My issue is why. I think that you have to maximize your value on that Kieran draft pick, and I would go into the left tackle, or I would go into the camp if you can't get a Josh Simmons and an icon at left tackle. Have these guys have an open competition. Don't hand anyone a job.
So, Ken, to answer your question, he's going to get more than the value of we're willing to pay him. He wants to be a starter somewhere. I mean, it just makes too much sense for him to settle coming to the Bears when you're behind Jonah Jackson and Joe Thuney. It just doesn't make sense for him to get his best opportunity. I just don't see him. What's Saucon? Anybody know what Saucon is?
Oh no, it's the way that you're pronouncing it. It sounds like he's setting you up. Yeah, I would not say that ever again. But as far as so many guys in the comment are responding to that Roshan comment. Raging Oracle. Roshan was still the best blitz pickup back and head coach likes guy that will block correctly. Yeah, he can still pass protect as a
Well,
fullback.
is that not what you're talking about? That's what fullback does. A fullback's in there to help protect the quarterback
I
and
don't
get
know if
short
you guys
yardage
think I'm
gains.
being condescending or rude. Look at CJ Ham. Go watch a football game of CJ Ham. That is a valuable football player to the Vikings. He has a Captain C on his chest. I'm serious. He needs to make that transition because that's where his strength is. It's not as a running back. I'm sorry, guys.
All right, we're going to move off of the line. We're kind of in agreement there. We're going to go to the wide receivers. Do you agree that the wide receiver room has basically been filled out for this year to highlight DJ Moore and Romo Dunze, and we've picked up some quality complementary pieces to let those two shine this year? We kind of had too many mouths to feed last year. Romo Dunze, the highest contested catch in the league. DJ Moore, one of the highest yaks for a wide receiver after receiving the ball. Now,
Mike gave out again. Now it's back.
I cut out.
Jeez. We got to get that Shure microphone for Adam so we can make
Karl, shut
sure
up.
that this doesn't happen anymore. Sure, if you're listening to us, please hit us up.
I missed what you said because I unplugged it. Is that better? Should be fine.
You're good.
Anybody saying Durham Smythe is tight end 2 is not paying attention. We don't have Durham Smythe as a tight end 2. He is taking Mercedes Lewis's job. That's what he did. He took Mercedes Lewis's job. He'll be in for some blocking plays, certain play designs and schemes. He'll be able to. I mean, he's played some wildcat before. I mean, he can do some different things. He can play fullback as well. But we're definitely drafting a tight end. If this didn't show you that more than anything, it should. We had 4 interviews with tight ends: Mason Taylor, Gunnar Helm, Tyler Warren, Terrence Ferguson, all day 1 or day 2 picks. And we've already got 1 tight end coming in for a top 30 visit. So we're definitely making a priority of picking up tight end 2 or possibly even tight end 1. It's possible that he could overcome Cole Kmet in a couple years. I'm not saying year 1. Tyler Warren could year 1. But what do you think about the wide receiver room after that? DeAndre Carter gone to the Browns. Other options still available. How's our wide receiver room? Do you think we still add to it?
Well, Tyler Scott's another guy who just might not be hanging around. I think that
Yep.
you do not. Someone asked this question earlier about how, if Tatoria McMillan is there at 10, is he best pick available? Who cares? He wouldn't be, by the way. He wouldn't be the best player available. But you cannot draft another wide receiver high. You have to maximize your value in Roma Dunze as far as that high draft pick. Is Zacchaeus your slot receiver number 3? I'm okay with it. But maybe you can get a guy who's really, really good in the 3rd round who is your speed guy, and that makes the most sense. I would prefer a late round project. You have Zacchaeus be your slot. You have Duvernay be like your last wide receiver on the depth chart that serves as your punt and kick returner. Probably just your punt returner. But I think that you need to get a guy like a Pat Bryant, someone towards the later stages of the draft, rounds 5, 6, 7, and essentially have them battle with Tyler Scott. Light the fire under Tyler Scott. If he earns it, great. If not, your draft pick's on your roster.
Yeah, I agree with that completely, and I think that could be the path they go, depending on the draft picks, how they fall in the beginning, if we have other needs we have to fill. But having a wide receiver, I mean, when you hear Grady Jarrett talk about that dark place that they go and transforming when you're in the game, he's specifically talking about against Jordan Love and the Packers, and when he basically let some expletives go and told Jordan Love where to go and how to get there, called him a female dog. Went to that dark place is how he explained that when I'm on the field, I go to a dark place, and that's how I'm the top competitor. Tyler Scott just hasn't had that. When he gets on the field, he doesn't translate what you saw at his college tape. He doesn't get to that dark place. He doesn't separate. He doesn't route run clean. And it's sad because you see some of that in the preseason. You get excited for it, and he just doesn't translate. I need Tyler Scott to go to a dark place.
Now, to be fair to Tyler Scott, I think he just needs a chance, an opportunity. He needs some confidence, and if anyone in the NFL could do that for him, it's a combination of Ben Johnson and Antoine Randall L. So I wouldn't cast. I have more confidence in Tyler Scott as a wide receiver than I do Roshan Johnson as a running back. But again, I would say don't hand these positions to anyone. Add someone to the mix. I don't think that John Jackson and Maurice Alexander are necessarily raising the floor. Those are camp bodies. I see Webster as a UFA. I'm sure he'll be in there, and we'll see him in preseason because we always do. But I do think that you need to come away with a day 3 draft pick.
I agree with you. I agree with you completely. I think that's where we're headed. I don't know if it'll be a priority, but a lot of fans really like Colin Johnson, especially against the preseason game.
I would
against
love
the
him
Texans.
to come back. Yeah, no, he had a good showing in the regular season as a special teamer. Like
Likely
that's
not
value.
happening. Likely not happening. They gave away his jersey number to another future reserve contract. When you do that, it usually means that guy's not coming back.
Really?
So they gave away his jersey number to Maurice Alexander, who was with the Lions last year. I would say, if I'm a betting man, Colin Johnson's not coming back. He's going to find his opportunity.
Wait a
elsewhere.
second. Isn't Maurice Alexander the speedster?
He's got some speed. He's not the top off speed, but
we got him like months ago at this point, right? Or a month ago.
he was a future reserve contract right when the
Yeah.
season ended. Came from the Lions as well. Yeah.
So maybe let's draft the Colin Johnson replacement, that being Pat Bryant, in round 5, 6, or 7. So
Sure. I'm good with that too. I think we're in agreement there. Tight end, probably high priority. Wide receiver, low priority.
yeah, I mean, just as far as a tight end though, like you can't get the ideal tight end 2 in free agency anymore, unless someone gets cut after the draft and something weird happens. You have to fill that position, in my opinion, in the draft, and it can't be a round 5, 6, 7 guy. I think that has to be a day 2 pick.
Yeah, for those who didn't hear, the two that we brought in to interview. Now, I didn't even have Devin Duvernay. I don't think many did because he only got cut a little over a week ago.
No one stole him, X.
From trim down time. Evan Ingram, and a lot of people asked, why did Devin Duvernay get cut? Well, why did Evan Ingram get cut, who immediately got scooped up as well? They're good players. The Jaguars were trimming some money. They had to because they signed
Because
a terrible
overpaid their quarterback is what
quarterback.
happened.
Same thing. This is the Packers will be doing the same thing in the next couple of years. The Packers overpaid Jordan Love. They're going to have to trim fat when it comes down to this time, and they're going to be in the same.
If the
problem
Packers were
situation.
smart, they'd realize that he was a terrible quarterback. They would have engineered an out in that contract, and that would happen soon. But the Packers aren't a smart team.
So the Packers ended up picking up, Mecole Hardman, and the Vikings ended up picking up Rondale Moore from the ones that we brought in, and then we got Devin Duvernay, who I think is an excellent pick. I did a whole video on that. Devin Duvernay, great pickup. All right,
To
Karl.
directly address X's comment. He said that the Vikings stole him from the Bears. The Bears actually had their interview with Rondale Moore, let him leave without a contract, and then he went to the Vikings, interviewed, and stayed there.
Well, he went to other places too. I mean, he went all over. He went to the Jets. He went to the
Went
Titans.
to Green Bay, I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'm wrong. No, it was Mecole Hardman that did the interview and then signed.
We got limited time because you got your show tonight. Defensive line, we need a couple of more. Chris Williams, very expendable at this point. Zach Pickens, possibly a cut candidate, as we've talked about some other ones. Daniel Hardy, probably a special team specialist at this point, more for depth. Some of these guys going to make the practice squad. How high of a priority? I've made my opinion known. I think this defensive tackle, defensive end needs to be a priority high, first, second round. Maybe the Bears don't view it the same way. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I would not expect a lot of sets where you have Odengbo and Sweat on the bench, right? So I don't think that you need to have someone else as a critical backup.
To hit
if
that,
it
this is
falls
the
that
position. This is the position that rotates more than any other position in the league. The highest defensive end snap count for the league was Myles Garrett, and he only had 69% of snaps. So you rotate your defensive ends, your defensive tackles more than anybody. Because think about it, you're on the defensive line. You've got to stay fresh to get pressure. And those guys off the snap, they're exploding. Montez Sweat, I think it was 60. He was the highest for the Bears, 64% of snaps were by him. And you're rotating other guys. Your other one, 50%. You're going to have, if you draft a rookie defensive end, he's going to get 50% of the snaps. And Montez Sweat will get 70%. Deo Ndango will get another 60%. And then the other 20% will come from Austin Booker and Daniel Hardy or Dominique Robinson. So these guys rotate. Same with nose tackle, defensive tackle. Grady Jarrett's only going to play 60% of snaps. Jervon Dexter, 60% of snaps. Jervon Dexter played a very high number last year too, like 65 or 70% of snaps for defensive tackle. Andrew Billings, the last year of his contract, likely not coming back next year. You'll have to have someone rotating.
Now, what possessed you to say that?
Why would we bring Andrew Billings back?
Because if the price is right, he's a great player for them.
Okay, if we re-sign him for $3 million as a rotational role, which he's worth, then fine, do it. But he's gonna garner some interest from other places where he can get a starting job. He's not a starter for us right now.
Yeah, I mean, however you want to slice and dice it, the fact of the matter is that Andrew Billings is a net positive for the Bears, and as long as he doesn't ask for the same exact contract that the Titans gave that former tackle for the Steelers, $20 million a year, you have to entertain whatever the number is. He's that good.
How is Andrew Billings a net positive?
Consider the fact that you just look at what happened when he went out. The Bears defense.
So you've got a backup starting, and then you've got practice squad players coming in to replace him. But he's a backup starting, so that makes him a net positive.
Absolutely,
I mean, come on, Carl.
I got the rage bait twice.
ranked against the run. 150th ranked against the run, and you want him to be.
I don't care what the PFF ranking is.
He was okay. 3 yards against him before he tackles someone. You think that's someone we need to have starting on this team, or as a net positive?
I just disagree. There are not obvious signs where you would design a run at Andrew Billings and just run through him. That's just a fallacy.
Okay. So agree or not, Andrew Billings on the last year of his contract, likely not to earn a second contract with how piss poor his stats have been. We're upgrading. We've got Grady Jarrett. We're likely to draft another one. That means you're upgrading. If you want to settle for mediocre on this team, settle for mediocre. That's fine. I don't think the Bears will do that. I don't think the Bears want to be a mediocre team. I think they want to be an excellent team, and that's why you go out and get a Grady Jarrett. So from that, do you think we should even draft a defensive tackle? Do you think that's a need of ours?
Put me on the full screen. Take yourself in the slide out. My stance could not be any more clear on. Well, not like that. Close. The idea here is just that. Do we need a defensive tackle? I don't even know if they can hear me.
They can hear you.
This is incredible. The fact of the matter is that if Mason Graham is off of the draft board, I would be more than okay with Kenneth Grant at 10. And you could say that's your nose tackle. I genuinely feel like the kid could play 3-tech if you really wanted him to. He's that good. So is it a need? Probably. Will you draft him at 10? Absolutely, you should. But I just don't like that you dismiss Andrew Billings as a jag. Because he's the opposite of a jag. He is not just another guy. He is the guy. Or at least he was when the Bears needed him most when he got hurt.
He was filling in. I'm gonna pull it up, Carl. You know I'm gonna pull it up.
But now we're getting into the credibility of PFF.
No, you always say that argument when it doesn't match your argument. Sure, he can get some pressure, but you want to settle for this piss poor tackling grades. I'm gonna make this bigger so you guys can see this. You want to settle for this piss poor of a tackler at its primary job as a nose tackle is to tackle. I mean, sorry, I got to make it the right. His primary job is to tackle.
I don't even understand what this metric is. Is that like missed tackles or the number of tackles compared to his peers? What is that?
How good of a tackler he is. How far it measures a lot of things.
Who's judging that?
It's Carl. Do you hate stats because they don't fit your narrative? Is that what this is? You hate the stats when they don't fit your narrative?
It's not an applicable or quite simply, it's not a fair metric. Like
it is absolutely a fair metric. What it does is it measures his tackles, how many he misses, how many how many pass the line of scrimmage, how far someone gets. Does he penetrate the line of scrimmage? Do they get 4 yards before he tackles them? Those things are all measured. And if he's piss poor at it, why do we want mediocre on this team? Why do fans of this team want to settle for mediocre? I don't understand why we like players more than we like the production they give us. It doesn't make any sense to me.
There's a very obvious sample size of before and after with Andrew Billings.
Right. You had a backup that was starting, and the backup got in.
You were talking so loud that the game cut your mic out. That was awesome.
The practice squad players fill in. So you're having practice squad players, and you're saying the practice squad players didn't perform as well as our backup. So, I mean, dude, seriously, we got to get past the Andrew Billings thing because
I love this because Adam is yelling at someone who wants the Bears to draft Kenneth Grant at 10th overall. That's what's happening. Karl muted. I wish I could. Adam muted himself. His voice, the microphone said enough. It was awesome.
We're done with this. They want to be done with this conversation too. We should make a poll on this one. I mean, we should. We got to get past.
Actually, yeah, Ben Johnson had the exact same argument. Levante Rogers is right. Yeah, let's do a poll. What do you want the exact poll to be?
Whoa. Break down what Ben Johnson said. I want you to break down what he said.
He said essentially along the lines that the Bears have a very talented defense, and I noticed he know that they had a very talented defense because he called however many games, 4-6 against them in 2-3 years. He said that when Andrew Billings went down, the team suffered.
Yeah, he didn't say anything about Andrew Billings being good. He said when Andrew Billings went down, he didn't say anything about Andrew Billings being good. He didn't. People took
Check the tapes. Check the tapes.
Exactly. He said when he went down because he knew. Look at what was behind him: Zach Pickens and Jonathan Ford.
Yeah, now you're speaking my language. Zach Pickens is one of the most likely cut candidates, and that's something I don't care what PFF has to say.
And Chris Williams. You're talking about
Chris Williams is fine.
No, Chris Williams is garbage.
That's the guy who you traded a 7th-round pick for, and he was just fine. He was a 7th-round pick value. That's fine. He's not a good player by any metric.
So we want Doug Kramer starting football games?
Chris Williams, where Zach Pickens is on your graphic right now, that's excellent. That's excellent. Honestly, Jonathan Ford there too.
Jonathan Ford is like the epitome of a practice squad player who's same thing as Andrew Billings.
Third tier.
He can't penetrate the line of scrimmage and get a tackle, so they gained 5 yards before we tackle him. Did you see how much teams ran against us, Karl? I mean, did you watch the actual football games and see where teams ran 200 yards a game against us, 150 yards a game? I mean, we were 32nd ranked in some categories against the run.
Many folks will tell you it's because your linebacker play is poor too. I think that someone in the chat just said this. Multiple things can be true. Mark Versalati. You're absolutely spot on, Mark. That's correct. There can be multiple things that are true. I think that Andrew Billings, from the eyes of someone who wants to draft Mason Graham at first overall, you could say Andrew Billings leaves a little bit to be desired. But my statement is that Andrew Billings on the Chicago Bears is a net positive, and I think that's as close to a fact as you can get.
Nah. This is Cliff Victoria nailed it. Replace the guys when you have someone better. When someone better.
Cut yourself out again. What do you mean, Cliff?
So, and I don't have any problem with this, Cooper, as long as it's a first round quality linebacker. As long as he can replace Tremaine Edmonds.
39. 39.
Yeah, 39 would be a better spot for that, but if the best available player. All right. Couple more spots, then we got to get you out of here because your show starts over at BCP in half hour.
We got to finish this poll, though, because we wanted to make a poll of that as far as Billings. What is the exact question you'd like to poll on?
All right. Now I got to go pull it up because I didn't even have it open for that. Let's open this up.
But just spitball it. Is Andrew Billings a net positive? Is Andrew Billings starter quality? I don't know what the exact question you'd like to poll on is.
Is Andrew Billings a starter quality defensive tackle in this league?
Chat, on the Thy and Smi side of things, the poll is up.
Polls up on this side too. I can't believe we're even entertaining this conversation. We'll keep going. Okay, linebacker. We clearly need a linebacker. The Bears have shown they have an interest in picking up a linebacker in the draft with a couple they took at the combine. A couple of top 60 visits at the combine. Your thoughts on linebacker? We got to get through the last couple spots here.
Yeah, the positioning is weird. I would like to see Tremaine Edmonds moved over to the middle, but essentially you have your linebacker core unless a really good player falls into your laps. I do think that Swayze Bozeman is the direct replacement for Jack Sanborn. Unfortunately, we lose out on the hometown hero kid, and we get replaced with a player who essentially is coming from a winning organization with championship pedigree, right? So Noah Sewell, if you're ever going to do anything, if you're ever going to prove anyone wrong, prove Karl wrong, because Karl doesn't believe in you, Noah Sewell. Not even one bit.
Come see Daddy for 1 second. Sorry, guys. 1 second.
What's going on, Pumpkin?
Are you ready to go?
Yeah, come here 1 second. Come here. Can you stay right there so you're not in the camera?
Say bear down.
Bear down.
Say I love the Bears.
I love the bears.
Say the Bears.
The bears.
Good job. Okay, go right that way. I'll be out just a minute.
That Bears.
My
That's
little
awesome.
princess.
That's awesome, by the way, Adam.
She my princess.
Hey, Brooklyn, pull that door shut. Good job.
Yeah, this poll is like, it feels like election night. We're split down the middle, 50-50.
I would agree with what you said there, though. It's not a priority, but it could be, if it fell into your lap, it's the right thing to fall into your lap. So I'd agree with you perfectly on that. Yeah, my side, it's 50-50 here too. 40 votes, 52% say no, he's not starter quality.
Out of 40 votes, that's awesome. Yeah,
40.
this is
42 votes now, 55% say no, 45% say yes. So this is another polarizing thing. So just like you and I are going back and forth, we have different opinions. You guys obviously do too. So it's
the context of the question is so important. I'm not asking or suggesting that Andrew Billings is so good that you have to forego Mason Graham at 10 because he's got short arms and Andrew Billings is better. I'm not saying none of that. That's stupid.
Victor Perez. I'm from Chicago. Can I vote again? And Karl, I think what you just clarified is really good. It's good that, yes, we can upgrade. You just see him as someone that could be a starter fill-in. I don't see it the same way. I think you absolutely have to upgrade that position because anytime Andrew Billings hits the field, we're going to have teams running for 5 yards a gain, 15 yards a gain, 10 yards a gain, just like they were last year over us. That's just my opinion. You disagree? In the chat, you guys are on my side. 44 votes now, 55% saying no, 45% saying yes. Polarizing. We got a lot of these polarizing things with our fan base, so
You guys are spot on there. Quality backup.
I think Cliff Victoria says, Genty.
Yeah, Cliff just piled into the chat. You're not going to want to talk too much more running back with him here, so I'm glad we hit that early.
Okay, last spot here. Now that Jalen Jones is gone, does it become more important to draft a cornerback? Now, guys, I get a lot of flack over this because I put Terrell Smith above Tyreek Stevenson. I don't hate Tyreek Stevenson. I'm going to clarify this. Dennis Allen runs a lot more man than the Bears did last year. He runs a lot more man coverage. Terrell Smith, for those who don't know, in fact, I'm going to pull this up. Karl, you're going to have to preoccupy for a second. Give me your thoughts on cornerback.
I can't believe that you're masquerading as the number one Terrell Smith meat writer. Like, I have been on that camp a lot before
No. You don't get to take this one from me like you take all the rest of them. This is not getting taken from me. I've been high on Terrell Smith since we drafted him.
Well, we're going to have to hold hands on this one then because I said the hour after Tyreek Stevenson had been telling the Redskins fans to, suck it where the sun doesn't shine, I immediately said bench Tyreek Stevenson to show him and hold him accountable, and your opportunity cost is exceptionally low because Terrell Smith is that good. He is a very impressive football player as far as a cornerback, and his evidence is against the Cardinals. I mean, he put the wall up on Marvin Harrison Jr. He had a fantastic start. He should have just started that game outright. I think that the way that they handled that and tried to rotate them, that helped with the, beginning of the end, so to speak, for the team and Eberflus. Terrell Smith's good.
Yeah, I agree. Now, I'm going to say a cornerback position more than any. I don't take the grades to be the end-all, be-all. I look at stuff like their NFL passer rating against, their pass breakups. I look at that more than the grades on these guys. But Terrell Smith, on paper, graded out better than Jalen Johnson last year in his limited snaps, 207 snaps. He had a 78.5 grade. Jalen Johnson, 76.2. Kyler Gordon, 76.0. Reddy Stewart, 75.1. I should add him to the list, too, even though we let go of him a long time ago. He ended up going to the Vikings as well, I believe. Freaking stupid by the Bears to let Reddy Stewart go. Such a stupid organizational decision. Stupid. All right, I'm done with my rant.
Good.
Over here,
Truth, though.
NFL passer rating against is one of my key metrics. Jalen Johnson last year, 33.1, lowest in the league. He had a down year. Jalen Johnson did, but his down year still puts him as one of the top cornerbacks in the league. So I'm not bashing on Jalen Jones. Had a very good year, and the reason I have him on, going back here, this as the starter over Tyreek Stevenson is because Dennis Allen does play man more than he plays zone, and Terrell Smith is noticeably a better hip-to-hip man coverage cornerback than Tyreek Stevenson. And if Dennis Allen's smart, he's going to let he's going to work his nuts off with Tyreek Stevenson to see what he's got in him. But Terrell Smith should get significantly more time, in my opinion, especially against man coverage and that man coverage that we play.
Yeah, Terrell Smith is your first backup cornerback. Would be amazing. You want Tyreek Stevenson to win the starting job because of the draft capital you invested into him. But at the end of the day, that's null and void. You just want the best, football players on the football field. And if that's Terrell Smith, I'd have no issues with that.
All right, so for multiple reasons, this was the last positional spot. Then we were done, and after that, we got other stuff we already went to. So for that reason, plus only a half hour till BCP premieres, and where was it right here? Brian Gilmore keeps saying my mic's cutting, so I got some things to figure out before next week. But for that reason, we're gonna have to wrap this thing up. So Karl, appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you being here. Those who have not podcast,
wow,
check out.
Yeah, your microphone might be hitting the. This is the first time where I'd say your microphone has been a true issue. Like it's dying.
Today was the first time we've had an actual issue, so we're gonna have to hit Amazon up today. You hearing me right now?
Yes.
So for multiple reasons, we're gonna end this. Karl, go ahead and give me your final thoughts. Everybody head over to BCP and Thy and Smi. Check them out. But Karl, give me your final thoughts here.
Brian's saying your mic's cutting in and out. Brian Gilmore says, breaking news, Gervon Dexter says, me want billing by my side. Interesting. Okay, Brian Gilmore. Final thoughts, you got to get that Shure microphone, man. Talk about taking your channel to the next level. That's what it's going to be, is the Shure microphone. It's going to do wonders for you. As you said, hit up Amazon.
All right, this one's dead.
In all seriousness, fantastic time yet again. Chat, you guys are lovely. Thank you guys so very much. And the poll with 6 votes. It's split down the middle. I'm pulling the plug on that poll right there as well. So
let me see
that's
mine
just
real
how it
quick.
goes.
Mine is at 58 votes. Ooh, and they switched to yes. They said that Andrew was 56 votes, 57 votes. 50% yes, 49% no. So that would have been split right down the middle there too. So
what's the Electoral College say? No, I'm just kidding. Chat, you guys have been fantastic. Thank you guys so very much for a fantastic stream yet again. Adam, I love spending my time talking Bears with you, so thank you as well.
We'll be back next week, guys. 1 week from today, 4 weeks at that point from the draft. We're going to have live draft coverage as well. Appreciate all of you guys tuning in, every one of you. Thank you for being a part of this. Karl and I, we were passionate Bears fan. We appreciate you guys being passionate Bears fans, being a part of this with us. I will fix the mic by next week. I'm probably going to order a new one. I'm probably just going to get a brand new mic, and we'll have it all fixed by then. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate you being a part of the channel. If you haven't hit the like button, please do that. If you guys haven't subscribed to Thy and Smi, and if you haven't subscribed to BCP, check them out. It's worth your time. With that, we're out of here.
What I will tell you, Adam, and I don't know if you're going to cut me off, but do not listen to BCP tonight because Dan has an opinion that will drive you nuts.
Oh, I'm definitely tuning in then. All right, Karl, we're out of here.